Eric Packer, the naturopath from New Zealand. Thank you for looking at the video. How reliable are stool tests? Are they any kind of an accurate measurement of, what's really going on in the body, or are they just sham? Is it just someone just, scooping money out of just, sham tests? Well, it's a crazy world we live in at the moment, and many people don't trust anybody anymore. Nobody trusts politicians. Not many people trust doctors. Not many people trust me. It's a wonder if they even trust themselves. But if we look at different laboratories around the world, some labs have been around an awful long time. The lab that I work with almost exclusively and have for probably the last 10, 15 years in particular is Doctors Data. Doctors Data or Doctors Data in Chicago, which I think is in Illinois. That's a state. Yeah, I think it's a state. I've been to Chicago a couple of times. It's a really cool place. Had a nice cup of coffee in this sort of cafe with a really knocked my glass over again, where the gangsters were hanging out in the 1930s. I like Chicago. Great airport, the O'Hare Airport too. Well, it was a great airport. I don't know what it's like now. But what was I talking about? That's right, the stool test. Doctors Data. Great lab. A long time. All the certifications that you can imagine. All right? The thing I like about Doctors Data is the evolving science. They've got a new test now, the GI 360. It's a seriously good test where they actually look at the DNA of the microbiota. Okay, there's over 45 different analytes that they measure for on the test. You would not get a finer stool test. Sham? Well, I don't know. It's probably like calling a pilot who flies one of those big 737s a sham pilot, or saying sham with anything you like. But the outcomes I've had, not just personally, but the outcomes I know many colleagues have had with these tests have been absolutely gobsmackingly amazing. The amount of times, I can tell you, the amount of times I had a stool test back and I was really worried about a patient, and I referred him straight on to a gastroenterologist who confirmed the cancerous polyps, or who confirmed the ulcerative colitis, or who confirmed the Crohn's disease, all the things that I picked up in the test that the regular medical doctor didn't pick up, because he or she basically said, look, just take a couple of these analgesics and come back tomorrow. It'll all get better. And it never got better. It never got better. So why a stool test? Well, you're excreting stool all the time. You're putting in food, you're putting out waste. The stool test is very, very good because it will show you a complete spread of the different types of potential pathogens in your gut. But not only that, it will actually show you, it'll quantify them, it'll give you kind of an idea how many you've got, a 1+, 2+, 3+. It will do so for beneficials as well as dysbiotic. It will do so for parasites to great detail. It'll pick up the parasites. The only way you're going to know is by getting a test done yourself. And yes, it's expensive. It's a few $100s. But it's more expensive? Having a serious disease and then basically putting your head in the sand for years and ignoring it. Okay? That's a lot more expensive. Okay? The undertaker costs a lot more than a stool test. Okay? Believe me. It's a sad thing to say, but I have seen patients who passed away that didn't need to die because they didn't do a stool test. And they developed all sorts of diseases because it remained undetected. Okay? But the cases we've solved in this clinic with people with serious parasite problems, people with serious yeast infections, the stool test nailed it time and time again. But here's the thing. The test has to be done correctly. All right? The patient has to be prepared before they do the test. There's no point the patient being on 2 weeks of antibiotics and then doing the stool test the following day. Pretty dumb idea, but I've seen it done many times. There's no point the patient being on proton pump inhibitor drugs, taking every morning, taking their drink of Nexium, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden, boom, they do the stool test and they can't understand the results. So preparation of the patient's important, right? It's a very important thing to do. The best tests are ×3. Day 1, day 2, day 3. Like they say, what you miss on the roundabout, you pick up on the swings at the playground, okay? If you get my drift, all right? You might miss Giardia on day 1, but you probably won't miss them on day 2 or 3. You might pick up an egg, or you'll pick up something else. So having a 3-day spread increases your chances of finding different things. But the stool test isn't just for picking up things. It's also for assessing, for example, the pancreatic elastase, for seeing how well functioning your pancreatic gland is, okay? So many things can be picked up from this test. So, when used skillfully in the right hands, it's probably the best test you'll ever do in terms of a functional diagnostic test. No medical test comes near the power of a functional, comprehensive digestive stool analysis. I haven't seen one yet. And I can tell you absolutely 100%, and no lie, as I mentioned, several times I picked things up in the test that the doctor didn't pick up, and at times even the bowel specialist didn't pick up, but the test picked it up. And then when they were referred back to the same doctor, they apologized and they said, yes, we have found it now. So that's what I mean about how good the test is. All right, so if you're serious, it's worth doing. So what diseases or conditions would you get a stool test done? Well, basically, you can get a stool test done for any type of chronic ill health, right? Anything, diabetes, okay, cancers, even heart disease. But most people get one done if they got lots of bloating, lots of gas, lots of diarrhea or constipation, gut pain. They may have pain in the lower left quadrant, which is common with many people with diverticulitis. They may, for example, get a stool test completed if they've got lots of constant on-off diarrhea and then constipation, and they're all over the show. And the test will usually show one red flag straight away. Boom, there'll be something that comes up, and then there'll be all these ancillary things, all these smaller things that you'll find as well. Testing is best performed, okay, before you come to the clinic or just as you come in. So you'll have a first visit with a practitioner who will talk to you and say, well, maybe we should complete a stool test. Then it's complete. It'll take a few weeks to come back. Then the physician will sit there with you, go over those pages, and then some changes will be recommended. And as I always say, you don't make huge changes overnight, especially with a really sort of not so good stool picture. You've got to make slow changes, and then slowly, you can ease that gut back into better health. And then a repeat test, of course, makes sense, doesn't it? Do another repeat test maybe in 3 or 6 months, check again. And what you'll find is if you've worked well and the physicians worked well and guided you and you've worked as a team, you'll find the results are improving. Some patients, I've completed 4, 5, 6 tests over 2, 3 years and seen a massive increase in their health, and the test results certainly change. I can't tell you how many people I've seen that have never had a stool test offered to them or completed by a physician. Even people spending thousands of dollars in consultations, they didn't get this test. It's beyond me. It's absolutely beyond me. To me, it's like taking a brand new BMW with all the computerized stuff to a guy who just does oil changes and who doesn't do a proper diagnostic computerized workup on that car engine. Because today you can just plug a car engine into a computer and it tells you, boom, this is what's wrong. That's the stool test is a similar thing, okay? You plug it in or plug the stool into the test and find out what's going on. Make changes, get the patient back, and then just keep assessing and away you go. That's why I like the stool test, because it yields consistent results, all right? Thanks for tuning in. I'll put the link in the box below. Thank you.